By the time of diagnosis, diabetic patients have lost approximately 50% of their insulin-producing pancreatic beta cells, according to autopsy studies. This loss is a slow process that ends with the individual experiencing full-blown diabetes. I have good news. Pancreatic beta cells are not permanently damaged during the early stages of the disease and can be restored to normal function with proper lifestyle and environmental modifications. Welcome to True Health Tuesdays. I'm Dr. Kennisha Reynolds, a licensed naturopathic functional medicine physician, molecular biologist, and former CSI forensic scientist. Today, we're going to discuss simple and effective lifestyle modifications that can improve blood sugar. First, let's start out with exercise because exercise is incredibly important for our health. A sedentary lifestyle can contribute to insulin resistance and lead to type 2 diabetes. Movement improves blood sugar metabolism by improving insulin receptor sensitivity. Just 30 minutes of postprandial brisk walking improves the glycemic response after meals. 3 15-minute periods after meals is significantly more effective than 45 minutes of sustained morning or afternoon walking in lowering post-dinner glucose. If you're not used to exercise, start slow. Start slow, start small. You can do it. Start with 15-minute brisk walking sessions twice a day, 5 days a week. And if you're one of those people who sit all day, I encourage you to break up your sedentary lifestyle with small bouts of movement. Set a reminder to get up and walk for 5 minutes every 30 minutes of sitting. Just 5 minutes. Break up your prolonged sitting. Moderate intensity walking is feasible and can be easily performed without the need of fancy equipment or supervision. So it's very easy to get moving. And it's almost a shame that many people sit all day. It's so simple to do. Get up and move for 5 minutes every 30 minutes. Exercise not only improves our blood sugar metabolism, but it also helps us with weight management. Being overweight or obese greatly increases your risk for type 2 diabetes. The more excess weight you have, the more resistant your muscle and other cells are to insulin. More than 90% of people with type 2 diabetes are overweight or affected by some degree of obesity. Exercise acutely burns fat, and endurance training increases the capacity to burn fat. Unhealthy fat from the diet, or maybe the fat that you wear around the waistline, gums up insulin receptors, interfering with glucose entry into the cell. Sugar accumulates in the bloodstream and causes damage to our blood vessels, our eyes, our kidneys, and our nerve tissue. So exercise can definitely help to improve BMI and reduce the risk for type 2 diabetes. However, a better predictor of type 2 diabetes is the waist to hip ratio. A normal waist to hip ratio for men is less than 0.95, and for women, less than 0.8. Those with a waist to hip ratio of 1 or greater have an increased risk for type 2 diabetes. Do you ever wonder when's the best time of day to exercise if you have type 2 diabetes? In a study published in the Journal of Diabetes Care, researchers determined that those who engaged in moderate to vigorous physical activity in the afternoon had the greatest reduction in blood glucose levels after 1 year. But if you can't work out in the afternoon, that's totally fine. Generally, exercising at any time of the day can help lower blood sugar levels by increasing insulin sensitivity and facilitating glucose uptake in the cells. Insulin sensitivity increases for at least 16 hours post-exercise. So, folks, you have to get moving because exercise is incredibly important for balancing blood sugar. And remember, if you're not used to exercising, always set small goals and achieve those small goals. Get moving every day. Start out small with simple, short bouts of movement. That can be incredibly useful. Our next topic that's really, really critical for stabilizing blood sugar is sleep. Sleep is foundation to our health and our physiology. We have to sleep. Sleep is controlled by our circadian clock. The circadian rhythm is the body's internal 24-hour clock that's naturally aligned with the cycle of day and night. Sleep deprivation affects circadian rhythm, which is associated with type 2 diabetes. In fact, a single night of sleep restriction up to 4 hours induces insulin resistance. That's right. When you're not sleeping, folks, this can increase your risk for insulin resistance. You have to sleep. Sleep is important for our metabolism. What you want to do to improve your sleep hygiene is, most importantly, avoid looking at bright screens 2 to 3 hours before bed. If you work a night shift or use a lot of electronic devices at night, consider wearing blue blocking glasses or installing an app on your cellular device or your computer that filters the blue-green wavelengths at night. You might consider also using lighting that reflects the sunset. Colors such as red, orange, and yellow. These are fantastic colors that mimic sunset and wouldn't so much disrupt your circadian clock. Next, avoid large meals too close to bedtime. Not only does it impact our gut and our microbiome, but it also affects our circadian rhythm. Not only large meals, but late night snacking is also included in that. So try to avoid these practices so that you can improve your quality of sleep and duration of sleep. Sleep with a cooler room. Ambient room temperature should be between 60 degrees Fahrenheit to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, according to the Sleep Foundation. One study found that sleeping in a cool room set to 66 degrees can help prevent the onset of metabolic diseases such as diabetes. Stop drinking caffeine 8 hours before bedtime. Even at 6 hours, caffeine can reduce sleep by more than 1 hour. So no caffeinated beverages, folks. Get early morning light exposure. Genes that help control circadian rhythms are more active in natural light. Getting exposure to sunlight in the morning can help improve sleep. It resets our internal clock. Exposure to natural daylight is beneficial to metabolism and can help treat and prevent type 2 diabetes and other cardiometabolic diseases. Work in an office with almost no exposure to natural light will have an impact on metabolism and your risk or control of type 2 diabetes. So try to get as much natural light exposure as you can to help improve your blood sugar metabolism. Next, environmental toxicants. We're exposed to many of them. Evidence indicates that environmental toxicants, chemicals or substances, increase the risk for type 2 diabetes. Any toxic chemical that directly injure or cause dysfunction to pancreatic beta cells is a diabetogen. Diabetogens have been implicated in metabolic diseases such as obesity, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and diabetes. Common diabetogens that you should be aware of that have been disruptors of insulin-producing cells include things like bisphenol A or BPA, commonly used in plastics, arsenic, a heavy metal, phthalates, and PFAS chemicals, and other chemicals that are found in pesticides. BPA and other chemicals can either directly act on pancreatic cells, promote oxidative stress, and impair insulin and glucagon secretion, or act on adipose cells, muscles, and liver cells to impair function and trigger an insulin resistant state. Take steps to reduce your toxin exposure by using clean products and avoiding plastics. I challenge you to go 1 week without using plastics. Always check your products using an app that you can download to your phone called Think Dirty. It's very powerful, it's very useful, and being able to check what kind of products that you're using and if they're safe. If you can't eat it, don't put it on your skin. And our very last topic that I like to discuss that plays a role in improving our metabolism and glucose metabolism at that, balancing our blood sugar, is the microbiome. The digestive tract is home to many resident bacteria. In the colon, we have anywhere between 300 to 1,000 different bacterial species. We have the ability to influence the gut microbiota to increase healthy bacteria in the gut. The microbiome is potentially the most important developments over the past decade or two. It's an incredibly exciting and emerging field that has evolved. I'm very blessed to utilize next generation sequencing technology to really investigate the microbiome. In my years of experience working as a laboratory scientist and using advanced technologies from Thermo Fisher and Applied Biosystems, have utilized next generation sequencing technology to really get an in-depth understanding of the microbiome and its role in health. We've been able to examine these microbial systems and their influence on the host through modulating the immune system and maintaining intestinal and blood-brain integrity. Thousands of publications over the past decade have revealed that the trillions of bacteria in the gut could have profound effects on human health and diseases, such as inflammatory bowel disease and conditions that affect the brain and conditions that affect metabolism. Research is now exploring ways to manipulate the microbiome to develop new therapeutics for a variety of diseases, such as irritable bowel disease and allergic airway disease. The gut microbiome modulates our metabolism, immune, GI, and CNS, central nervous system physiology. It has protective functions, being able to outcompete pathogens. It regulates gene expression, aids in digestion and absorption, participates in the production of vitamins and other precursor molecules that have a very important role in our health. When the microbiome is disrupted, we call it dysbiosis. Dysbiosis has been implicated in many disease states, including metabolic diseases such as type 2 diabetes. Bacterial imbalances can lead to an overabundance of bacteria that produce endotoxins. Higher levels of endotoxins lead to insulin resistance. Endotoxins bind to insulin receptors, promoting insulin's resistance, causing sugar to accumulate in the bloodstream, and excessive sugar in the blood not only is inflammatory to our cells, but it can also store as fat, leading to weight gain. Utilizing the microbiome as a target for metabolic diseases have been well elucidated. Administration of microbial species selected for their known beneficial role in metabolism is a promising new tool that augments traditional dietary measures for improving glucose levels in type 2 diabetes. The gut microbiome releases short-chain fatty acids, and butyrate is one of those short-chain fatty acids that's able to influence blood sugar levels. By binding to a receptor called G protein, the gut microbiome produces small molecules such as short-chain fatty acids, and butyrate is one of those short-chain fatty acids that's able to influence glucose metabolism by binding to G protein coupled receptors to stimulate GLP-1 release. GLP-1 is a hormone known to decrease post-glucose meal spikes and A1C. Pendulum Therapeutics is an evidence-based microbiome company that demonstrates clinical improvements in A1C and blood glucose spikes in people with type 2 diabetes. Pendulum glucose control, is the first multi-strain medical probiotic clinically shown and specifically designed for the management of type 2 diabetes. This probiotic contains 5 different strains of important bacteria that play a role in modulating metabolism. One famous bacteria that's often lost in a lot of people with metabolic dysfunction or metabolic diseases is Akkermansia. And Akkermansia levels tend to be low in patients with type 2 diabetes. And it plays a very important role in maintaining the intestinal barrier function as well. So Akkermansia is one of those key microbes that are inside this multi-strain probiotic. If you're not sure what your microbiome looks like and you have type 2 diabetes, consider targeting your microbiome and really looking into your gut health as a way to improving your blood sugar levels. So in summary, make sure to get moving, start small, set small goals, achieve those small goals, break up prolonged sitting. Every 30 minutes of sitting, get up and walk 5 minutes. Make sure you're sleeping. Make sure you're getting outdoors, getting exposed to natural light, making sure that you're practicing good sleep hygiene, and get a sleep study if you're not sure if you have sleep apnea, because this also impacts blood sugar. So be very keen on your sleep practices and evaluate how you can improve your sleep if you're not sleeping. And also make sure that you're not exposing yourself to chemicals, you're checking your products, you're making sure that you're not utilizing products that could be hormone, endocrine disrupting chemicals, interfere with your insulin function. And lastly, take a look at your gut health. Thank you so much for joining me today. Be sure to click the like and subscribe and share the information with your loved ones.